Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and these are 10 Japanese films from the 1970s that you should watch. Let's do it. The Man Who Stole the Sun, 1979. This is a thriller. A high school science teacher attempts to make an atomic bomb in his apartment. The opening half hour of this movie is a bit erratic, making it difficult to predict where the story is going or what will ultimately happen. Nice blend of dark thrills and black humor is what makes this one special. It uses tonal shifts in convincing fashion. The protagonist is an unorthodox mad scientist who is both likable and charismatic. There are some very interesting sequences in this, like the lengthy plutonium experiments and bomb construction. You don't see that much in movies. Most of the film is realistic, but there are some wildly, intentionally unrealistic moments that are entertaining in their craziness. There are also some subtleties that one will miss if they are not paying close attention. Performances are great, and the ending is ballsy. One of my personal favorites of the 1970s. It was directed by Kazuhiko Hasegawa. Lone Wolf and Cub, Sword of Vengeance, 1972, is an action flick. One word, badass. A former shogunate executioner turns Ronin and takes his little son with him as he assassinates his targets. The sword fights are effective and entertaining, but the real contribution to this film is its unique blend of quality filmmaking, bloody violence, nudity, and extreme plot developments that result in a number of memorable moments, some of which involve the toddler son. Tomisabuuro Wakayama gives an inspired and wholly convincing performance, and one can only feel sorry for anyone who gets in his way. The conflicts and dialogue are even more interesting here than in some of the sequels, which are also worth watching. And the use of silence and minimal scoring is also a nice choice here. A very cool movie by director Kenji Misumi. Silence from 1971. This is a drama. This critically acclaimed haunting drama from Masahiro Shinoda is set in the 17th century and deals with two Christian missionaries who land in Japan, become the priests of a small village, and search for another priest who disappeared a few years earlier. Now, conflict arises when the shogunate sternly suppresses and tortures Christians, thereby forcing the characters to choose between death or renouncing their faith. Some of the methods of torture are pretty chilling here, and there's also some sly psychological manipulation that's used by the Japanese. Some very good exchanges of dialogue prove to be the highlights here, as are the ominous environments. Open spaces, crashing sea waves, etc. Martin Scorsese would later adapt the source material into his own film. Grass Labyrinth, 1979. This is a drama short film. Shuji Terayama brings his unorthodox style to this film about a teenage boy who clashes with his mother and is pursued by a mysterious girl. This has been described as avant-garde and bizarre, and I must say deservedly so. This short film, lasting about 40 minutes, basically consists of the interactions with the boy and other characters, some of whom seem to be disturbed circus folk. The clothing and set designs are very colorful. This is a unique film that is recommended to viewers looking for something very different. Journey into Solitude, 1972. This is mostly a drama. This is a story about a 16-year-old girl that begins a pilgrimage on the island of Shikoku to seek freedom and the meaning of life. Along her journey, she meets and befriends many people while writing letters back to her mother at home. Now, the lead actress is really good and cute as well. She does a great job of portraying a spunky girl in a realistic manner. There are some very nice natural environments to enjoy, as well as some very sensual moments as well. This is the definition of a coming-of-age film, and it's a damn good one, by Koichi Saito. Empire of Passion, 1978, a dramatic thriller. A married woman and her lover murder her husband and dump his body into a well. After a while, his ghost comes to haunt them while the local gossip grows stronger. This is a sexually charged storyline with impressive visuals and engaging conflicts. The forest environments are expertly captured, and the ghost is pretty creepy. Basically, there's one really cool horror sequence involving a foggy rickshaw ride that is a big highlight. Just an all-around solid film by director Nagisa Oshima. Under the Flag of the Rising Sun, 1972. This is a war drama. The story is about a war widow who is determined to clear the name of her disgraced husband, who is supposedly court-martialed for desertion and subsequently executed. She interviews a small handful of soldiers who tell their grim experiences during World War II. This is a proficiently made film from top to bottom, but most viewers will come away impressed with its narrative structure, which involves multiple contradicting accounts, as well as its dark, disturbing recreations of battleground suffering. There is also much criticism directed towards the Japanese government and military officials, from tactical mistakes to bureaucratic incompetence to outright corruption. A must-watch from Kinji Fukasaku. Heroic Purgatory, 1970. This is a drama. This is a very artsy, weird film by Yoshishige Yoshida. The dialogue and character motivations can get somewhat opaque, but the general concepts are rather interesting and are successful at maintaining a necessary level of interest. In a nutshell, the plot focuses on a husband, his wife, a young woman, and an anti-government organization. The highlight here is the visuals. Right from the start, there are excellent set designs with an emphasis on bright white geometric architecture. Framing of the shots is also very striking. Certainly a memorable viewing experience. Vengeance is Mine, 1979. This is a drama. The life of a murderous thief is explored here. This is one of those slow-moving, engrossing movies that emphasizes character interaction. The lead and his acquaintances are given healthy backgrounds and provide a realistic and subtle basis for his homicidal actions. This is a contrast to other movies that may use blunt, cliché causes like physical abuse. The lead actor does a good job, and there are some standout sequences, for example, the murders themselves, the hot spring scene, etc. Viewers should know that there is a healthy amount of violence and sex in this, but nothing too gratuitous. A solid flick from Shohei Imamura. The Long Darkness, 1972. This is a romance. This is the story of a young man and a young woman who share their past sufferings and tragedies while dating. This is very well directed and acted. It's shot in black and white, with some authentic Japanese themes and cultural details. I personally find that classic romance films from Japan tend to focus more on drama than the actual romance, but this one is a bit unique because it's saturated with a strong sense of romanticism from beginning to end. Of course, it does establish strong dramatic backgrounds that help to drive the story, but much of the impact is felt through romance. This is a very powerful and memorable film by Kei Kumai. So there you have it. 10 Japanese films from the 1970s that you should watch. Again, I'm not providing availability information in this playlist, so check Google for any films that may seem interesting to you. The Japanese film industry was experiencing a pretty large drop in theater attendance during this decade, but they were still able to produce a good number of very impressive films. In fact, I'm going to make a part 2 to this video and give you 10 more Japanese film recommendations from the 1970s, so look out for that list in the near future. And as always, I'll see you next time.